Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to Brics Part 45. And so the following media is for research purposes, and the research that we're trying to understand is Brics and the quantum financial system and all this tangled up leading to World War III. So, let's get into this. Alright. So we were on the current U.S.-Chinese relations. Now remember, this was uh, probably written somewhere around 2004, because the latest sources are in 2003. So imagine, if I remember right, this was a 2004 paper. Okay, so let's see here. So Mao was under control at the time. Well, maybe not. I can't remember who was actually, but Mao played a crucial role in bringing the Cold War into the East and Southeast Asia. China compelled the United States and Soviet Union to turn attention away from each other in Europe and to divide attention and energy between both sides of the Eurasian landmasses. China's decision to fight the United States in the Korean War diverted U.S. resources in East Asia. That war brought Japan back onto the world industrial landscape. China's initial support in the Vietnam War had the same effect on South Korea. However, unlike the Japanese in the Korean War, the Koreans paid the price in battle debts in the Vietnamese War. I did not know that. Okay, in terms of attention and resources, the Cold War was not that bipolar. In terms of lives and ammunition spent, the bipolar world was particularly unipolar. East Asians were on the receiving side of the Great Cold War divide. That insight would help in achieving greater insight into the post-Cold War diplomacy of the United States, Russia, and China. Okay, so I'm gonna read. So we got the Cultural Revolution. Okay. Which followed the heels of the Great Leap Forward disaster and the inter-party struggles. This prepared the way for the strategic reversal in U.S.-Chinese relations of the 1970s. Reading. Okay. So foreign policy changing course and domestic order change is highlighted by China's simultaneously transition toward the market economy. In the realistic school, there is no reason why international realignments should coincide with domestic order change. In critical geopolitics, both levels are coupled. Okay. China and India are entering into competition for oil at the time which experts expect a speedy decline of the world's stock after the peak in world oil production is reached. Each of these countries has hundreds of millions of people whose oil consumption is zero or close to zero. Wow. How much things have changed. Okay. So they're thinking that under the assumption that no new major oil fields will be discovered and there are good grounds for making it. I think that's changed. Okay, here we go. Some experts expect that the world oil production will reach its maximum value somewhere in this decade. Others are more optimistic and shift that date to about 2050. You see how 2050 keeps repeating and repeating and repeating in everything that I do? Well, in this research, not everything that I do, but just in this research. This is also supposed to be the year of like China's 100-year celebration, or 2049. So that's also something significant. What did I do here? Oh, there we go. Okay. So, China lost energy self-sufficiency in 1995 when it turned into a net importer of oil. In 2010, China is expected to be the largest oil importer of the world. I don't think that went through. I'm pretty sure that didn't go through. But it is no surprise, therefore, that China's government sees in the Caspian Sea oil a source of future supply. In its developed the West policy, the Chinese are reaching out from Xinjiang to Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. I don't know how to pronounce those names. In the far west, China meets the largest energy consumer in the world, the United States. Both countries differ in several aspects. China is in the midst of a transition towards industrial capitalism. The United States has turned into a less fuel-intensive service economy. Both transitions are coupled as the United States is China's best external customer of manufactured products. Okay, I'm reading. President Bush redefined the relation between China and the United States from Clinton's endorsed strategic partnership to that of a strategic competitor. Probably few would disagree with the report in the South China Morning Post of June 2003 about the forces at work and the location where both meet. President, okay, so this is that President Hu Jintao, Jintao, maybe, I don't know, understood or yesterday agreed to boost energy cooperation and vastly increase trade with neighboring Kazakhstan. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. Reasserting China's interest in a region where the United States has dramatically increased its presence and brought its troops near to the Chinese border. Okay. But this country's president signed agreements to revitalize work on an oil pipeline from their country to China and increase China's participation in the energy sector. Okay. I'm reading it. Okay, and then this president was at Moscow last week to take part in the summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a security grouping of Russia, China, and 4 Central Asian nations in which China plays a central role, with a crucial member, Uzbekistan, I think I pronounced that hopefully right, actively seeking closer relations with the United States. The group's task of countering American influence in the region will be difficult. And this is where PSYOPs come in. And who is the king of PSYOPs? People think it might be the United States, but really it's Russia. Okay, so let's continue here. Okay, so their energy extends from the Russian Far East and the Middle East to the south. Okay, during the last decade, China's military modernization attracted international attention. China has one of the largest militaries in the world. Okay, reading. Tactical nuclear weapons. And it's talking about just how they were modernizing during this time. In 2000, total strength of its military personnel was estimated to be 2.5 million, 1.8 million of which were ground forces of the People's Liberation Army. A lot of fucking people. And it seems like their aircraft are under license from Russia. And is also planning to buy 1 to 4 AWAC aircraft from Israel. Interesting. Yeah, Israel and China work together. Remember, Goldman Sachs created Brics. Okay. I'm reading. Okay, so the conclusion is that China will have a retaliatory capacity irrespective of what the United States does. The U.S. Air Force will therefore not fly with impunity over Chinese territory. It is even more unlikely for early proliferator Britain to require late proliferating Iran to open up the sites for inspectors, as the Blair government did in Iran as a follow-up to America's threat of preemptive strikes against that country. However, the United States may wish to have its spy planes flying as close uh, to this border as the mainland's coast in the Strait of Taiwan. Okay, reading. Okay, so the encounter between the U.S. spy plane and a Chinese fighter jet in the spring of 2001 highlights the new risk of China's regained status in the U.S. security policy of being a strategic adversary. Not all U.S. leaders believe that China has already entered into the zone of the civilized. However, the option of the Redeemer nation to fight a new Boxer war has moved beyond the horizon of the plausible, but the risk of external strangulation remains. Okay, Chinese analysts consider the United States as a major threat to China's energy security. China's vulnerability to energy interdiction by the United States has increased due to the spread of U.S. military forces onto its western border. Okay, so at the present time, U.S.-Chinese relations hang in a pretty curious balance between crisis and cooperation. Okay. I'm reading. Okay. China joined the war on terrorism. And changes in the vocabulary in Chinese-American relations on who is a terrorist to whom reflect ad hoc policy changes. Reading. When the Iraq War was underway, China made its opposition clear. On March 25, 2023, newly elected Chinese Prime Minister Wang Jiabao declared that China stands for a peaceful settlement of the Iraq issue within the UN framework. Every effort should be made to avoid a war. Once government documentation has become available, it will be possible to figure out who was waiting for whom and publicly announcing resistance to the Anglo-Saxon attack. Such knowledge would help to get a better insight into how China perceives itself in relation to the current distribution of power in the world. Okay. I think we're gonna stop right there. Yeah. So the next time, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do a Sunday one. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is a poem. So either next week or the week after, we'll continue with Brics 46. If I'm able to do one on Sunday, then that would be awesome. Okay, so okay, interesting. Next, we're about to get into the current U.S.-Iranian relations. Now, remember, this is around the early 2000s that we're talking about the relations. Okay, so, but, you know, Elon started a new party, so I wanted to talk about that because I said something about that years ago, and I want to document that. So, I just wanted to show you that over here on Twitter, or X, I created a thread earlier. And, so it's right here. Get that to go away. Anyway, a new party will rise thread. I know I said it in a video before this, but on January 27, 2021, I stated a new party will rise. Remember, I was off about 3 to 4 years in my thinking. I say this around the 13.44 mark in this video right here. And then even more posts that I said this, you know, on Twitter. This is the repeat, but here we go. We'll listen to the sound. Don't give up hope, but the Republicans and the Democrats, we know that they're dead. A new party will rise. What party that is, I don't know. But something new is going to rise, because both those parties have destroyed America together. And why would you keep voting for the people who want to destroy this country? I mean, both parties made that clear, that they do not care about any of you. So why continue to vote for those two parties? As a matter of fact, we shouldn't even have this one whole system. And I hope that a lot of the knowledge that I write in my dissertation paper brings out that we need to be, you know, one. We really need to take a look at everything, and we need to look at it from a realization of truth. And when we talk to people, there can be no harborness or hate or anything like that. But nothing's gonna heal under Biden, and nothing's gonna heal under Trump. I can tell you that much. But the only way that healing is going to occur is going to come after when new people are in charge and when the old powers are definitely gone, because the new powers should rise at about that time. Oh man. Okay. So don't give up hope. But that the Republicans and the Democrats was from there, and then And then if we go to this part, a new party will rise. Both parties are destroying themselves. And then again, another one in 2020 where it said, yes, they will. Many people aren't voting for Biden and voting for a third candidate. I thought a new party might rise. I thought that the new party that would rise was going to happen then. You see how I'm about 4 years off, maybe 5 years, because I was thinking it was going to happen around 2020, and it's just happening now. So some of my things are off when I stated them. I was trying to remember something over 20 years ago, people. So I was doing my best. But so there we go. So a new party will rise. And we're in that moment. So now I'm waiting for the global depression and the Great Uniter. Great Uniter will be 2028. Okay, and if you haven't already, you should go to Twitter, click here, and maybe buy my novel before the next one comes out. It's a good way to support me. To be honest, I make more money, not that much, on the, what is it, the ebook. I get like $2 if you buy the ebook, but I only get like $1.49 if you buy the book, the paperback. So I'm not like getting really rich off this. So unless I sell like 1,000,000 copies, which I can tell you has not happened yet. But other than that, my time here is done. And so I'll see you guys either Sunday or Monday. I'm hoping Sunday, but they may not happen, so it may be Monday. So, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed this part 45 Brics production. And y'all have a good one, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. Peace. Bye. Well, I didn't mean to do the peace symbol. Sometimes I just do that out of habit. But peace out. You have a good one. Bye.